get the stuff, and you got to focus on the things that generate thousands of dollars an hour. And then you can always hire somebody to do most of the rest of the work, or delegate or share it somehow. I'll give you an example of what I mean by that. I have an attorney that, kind of like you as a loan officer, I have a listing that is an escrow. It has been for 30 days. There's nothing going on this week that I have to call him. I call every Friday on my referral sources, and the nice about this phone call is, hey, guess what, Darren? There's nothing to talk about this week. I talked to you on Monday. I sent the email. You know what we're waiting on to close next week. We're all good to go. So tell me about your garden. How you doing? How's this? How's that? Right? Because that's the real money, is that relationship. It's not, I already showed him I'm a great listing agent. I assume any loan officer G-rate is giving great service. I assume you all have great marketing tools. You guys already have that. The distinguishing part is you as a relationship. And the time you spend with a person for your business is worth thousands of dollars, tens of thousands. A realtor will give you $10 billion a year, is worth how much money to you business-wise. An extra couple hours a week on processing paperwork is $20 an hour work. You got to find some way to get out of that. Work hard in the beginning and make some money, pay some people to do it for you, hire your own LLA or go work somewhere. You guys hire people all the time from the companies where they weren't supported at company X, and your management will say, we'll hire you, we'll get you an LOA, or our systems are efficient and we'll take care of that for you. I see you guys do that all the time. So I know, if you're in another company, talk to Michael or whoever about getting the support you need. But business will always work for the guy who generates a lot of good business.
That's great. That's a great point. I want to segue that into a funny, quick story, which we started talking about before, just to bring back up. So I'm looking to continuously grow my team, which is what we were talking about before. And you came across someone recently that, let's call him Mr. Rolodex for the purpose of this story even, right? He's got a phenomenal Rolodex as a human being, just super well connected. So you meet him and he talks about, hey, I want to talk to someone at G-Rate, and you put him in touch with me. What was really funny is, so he calls me and you sent me a message, so I wasn't blindsided. And you were like, hey, this guy's like thinking about maybe getting into the mortgage business. I know, Michael, you're looking to grow a team. Why don't you speak to this guy? So he calls me, and I think you may have mentioned that he was talking to someone in the back. So he calls me, and I start talking to him, and I realize that I don't know if he's going to be the right fit or not, but I always take the first phone call open-minded, as open-minded as I could. You never know what you can find, right? So I always try to look for gold. I had a great conversation with him. Seems like a pretty nice guy. And then I said, okay, look, let me digest this. Let me talk to Bobby, my chief of staff, and like see how he feels about you, right? And then let's take this to second base. So I then follow up with him the next day, and so I thought about it overnight. And you had made mention that he knew someone in the Valley from Guaranteed Rate, and he didn't mention anything about it. And I said, you know what, let me play nice in the sandbox. I don't want to run down the road with this guy and then find out that someone else is also trying to recruit him. So I reach out, and here's how like communication works. It's the best part of this whole story. So I reach out to the guy in the Valley, let's call him the Valley guy, who works at the same companies. And I said, hey, do you know Mr. Rolodex? And he goes, yeah, I'm talking to him for 6 months.
Wow.
So I go, okay, I got to step back here, because here I'm trying to recruit this guy who's been talking to him for 6 months. So what do? I reach back out to Mr. Rolodex, and I say, hey, are you talking to I don't want to be aggressive with him, so I said, are you talking to anyone else at GR, Guarantee Rate? And he writes back, like in an affirmative, like almost like a lawyer. And he writes back and goes, I can affirm that within my existence of looking into this, I've never spoken to, like real official language. Like I've never spoken to anyone else at GR. Defensively. And I'm just trying to make sure that there's not a problem.
Sure.
So I'm like scratching my head, I'm going like, I don't know what the deal is. So been down this road before where there's his story, her story, and the truth, right? So I said the best way to solve it, let me get on the phone with him. So call him, and this is kind of like where things kind of switched for me, and I was excited about interviewing him at first, but then after this it kind of got like a weird feeling. I called him, I said, hey, I just want to clear the air with you. Do you know Mr. Valley, the guy from Valley? He goes, yeah, he's been doing my pre-approval. I said, no. I said, so he's just doing the pre-approval.